Good evening, everyone. It is November 7th. I'm going to call this regular meeting of the City Council to order. And if you would like to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, I think I'd ask you to do that, and then just keep in your hearts a little bit of note for Veterans Day this week. Thank you, everyone. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Gabriel.
Here.
Newman.
Here.
O'Doherty.
Here.
Pierce.
Here.
Richardson.
Here.
Shumway.
Here.
Somerville. Absent. Cumby.
Here.
Harrington.
Here.
That's 8 present and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. We're going to move then to public comments on non-agenda items. Any member of the public wishing to speak to the council on any item that's not on the regular agenda, or on the agenda, forgive me, may come forward if you're in the room, or raise your hand if you're on Zoom. Please come forward, sir. We'll need your name and your address, and then you'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Mike Gary. I live at 130 Rawhide in the Buttes on 287. The reason I'm here tonight is to speak to you about a petition that I'm going to be taking to the governor's office in request of getting permanent law enforcement officers on Highway 287. And this is mainly because of the speeders, reckless drivers that cause accidents, fatalities on Highway 287. We just had another fatality just 2 weeks ago on 287, and I was run off the road about 2 weeks ago on Highway 287. You guys on the City Council may think, what does this concern the City of Laramie? Well, because Highway 287 leads directly into downtown Laramie. And once these violators cross over the bridge, which covers the railroad tracks, they enter the City of Laramie at speeds of anywhere from 60 to 70 miles an hour, which is noted by the monitor that the Laramie Police Department has positioned right before you go under I-80. In September of 2021, in Gillette, Wyoming, Governor Gordon made a remembrance speech about the 8 UW students that were killed by a drunk driver 20 years ago on Highway 287. But still at this time, in 2023, nothing has been done to provide us with any more law enforcement officers on 287. I spoke with Lieutenant Wetzel of the Highway Patrol, and he stated that he is lucky to keep 1 officer on Highway 287 at all times. And if this officer gets an arrest, there is no law enforcement officers on Highway 287. He also stated to me that he could use up to 20 more officers on Highway 287 and keep them busy all the time. Last Wednesday, I received a phone call from the Colonel of the Highway Patrol since I had contacted the Governor's office with my concerns. He stated that he and the Lieutenant are looking into matters and we're working on solutions for Highway 287. Just in the last couple of days, I've seen a greater law enforcement presence on Highway 287, and the speeds on Highway 287 are coming down. And due to this is because they're having a detail right now to curb speeders and reckless drivers. But we need permanent officers that are there 24 hours a day so that we can keep them done. Because when the detail's over with, the speeds just pick back up. So at this time, I'm asking the City of Laramie to support my petition in any way they can for permanent law enforcement on Highway 287, which also will reflect in the City of Laramie. And I thank you for your time.
Appreciate you taking time out of your evening to join us.
Thank you.
City Clerk, I will begin recognizing the folks that are on Zoom, starting with Moses Levy. Moses Levy, when you are off mute, you will have 3 minutes. I need your full name and address, please. Sir, I would call that anti-Semitism. Leah Cohen? And actually, before we recognize Leah Cohen, City Clerk or City Attorney, if this continues to be a pattern, I'm not sure that I am interested in us providing a platform for folks to sort of insert their hateful comments into our meeting. I don't know how to proceed as far as not welcoming them in and giving them an opportunity, but it feels like a pattern.
Right, well, Your Honor, no. I mean, it's disruptive to this meeting besides being odious. And this council and this meeting does not have to listen to these people spout this filth. So I think that without real addresses or real names, you have some power to not have them speak, or you can ask folks to say what they intend to say before they start to speak. If we're worried about being wrong about these phony people showing up and trying to disrupt the meeting.
Thank you, City Attorney. Council members, I'm inclined to close the public comment period at this point. And I understand that I have some half measures that I can take here, but I'm not particularly interested in those.
So,
City
Mayor,
Clerk?
if we could just have a motion, a second, and a vote on that, to have a 2/3 vote to change
Sure.
the rules.
Sure. Council members, is there a motion? Councilor Newman?
I'll motion to change the laws and bylaws right now, or rules, sorry, to skip this public comment.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Newman, second by Gabriel. Is there any discussion on this?
Only discussion that I would have is if there is someone online and wishing to share, they are welcome to email us their comments.
Thank you, Councilor Richardson.
Or stay till the one at the end.
Thank you, Councilor. All right. Council members, please, Councilor Shumway.
Also, I think that we should entertain those that are in the audience as long as they stay on correct topics.
Yeah, thank you, Councilor Shumway. I will, if the motion is favorable to it, I would just suspend the online public comments at this point. Okay. Second? Okay. Is that okay, City Clerk, City Attorney?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor, I guess, City Clerk, I'm going to have you call the roll on this. And I will let those folks know online, this will be your welcome every time you join our council. Your comments are not welcome. Please.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville. Absent. Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That rule has been suspended. Public comment is now only open in the room. If there's any other member of the public who wishes to speak to the council on any item not on the agenda who is in the room, please go ahead and come forward. Okay. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment and apologize to members of the public for that. I will move then to the Vice Mayor for changes to the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the following changes to the agenda be approved. That item 9N move to item 15A.
Second.
Motion by Cumby, second by Newman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that change has been made. I will recognize again the Vice Mayor to set the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the agenda be set as changed.
Second.
Okay, motion by Cumby, second by Richardson. All those in favor of setting the agenda say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda has been set. And just for members of the public, if you were listening to pre-council, we had originally talked about moving that to 21A, but wanted to have it slightly earlier, so that will come after item 15. All right, folks, we are going to move then to proclamations. And we're going to begin with Small Business Saturday. Whereas the government of Laramie, Wyoming celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community, and whereas, according to the U.S. Small Business Administration, there are 33.2 million small businesses in the United States. Small businesses represent 99.7% of firms with paid employees. Small businesses are responsible for 62.7% of the net new jobs created since 1995, and small businesses employ 46.4% of the employees in the private sector in the United States. And whereas 68 cents of every dollar spent at a small business in the United States stays in the local community, and every dollar spent at small businesses creates an additional 48 cents in the local business activity as a result of employees and local businesses purchasing local goods and services. And whereas 72% of the consumers reported that Small Business Saturday 2022 made them want to shop and dine at small, independently owned retailers and restaurants all year long. And whereas the City of Laramie, Wyoming supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our communities, and whereas advocacy groups, as well as public and private organizations across the country, have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Brian Harrington, acting as mayor and president of the governing body of the City of Laramie, Wyoming, do hereby proclaim November 25th, 2023 as Small Business Saturday, and urge the residents of our community and communities across the country to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday and throughout the year. And I don't think we have anyone here to take this proclamation this evening.
I'm sorry.
Oh, please, come on forward. That's exciting. Well, I didn't think we did, but this is excellent.
Yeah, hi.
So just give us your name. Make sure that microphone has, it does. Okay.
Green. Hi, I'm Sina Krula. I'm the chair for Small Business Saturday for Laramie Main Street.
Great. If you'd like to say anything to the council, you have some time. Otherwise, we're just going to take a picture with you.
Oh, cool. Just thank you for this proclamation. I've lived in Laramie for the last 9 years, and I've really gotten involved with the small businesses, and I appreciate their support of the community and each other. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Sina. If you don't mind, it's way faster if you come to us.
Okay.
You just got to walk. That's a gate in front of you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it takes us forever to move desks and get to you.
I'll push so we're full.
You just come right
In the front? Oh, okay.
Surprise.
Great. I do this part.
Yeah.
My hand she's good. Should I go back? Sorry.
You're good. All right, everyone. If you can't see the camera, I can't see you. Nancy, do you want me to take the photo?
Yeah, are you?
Oh, where's it?
I didn't know. Yeah, please. Yours is going to be way better than mine.
Yeah. All right, say cheese. All right, that's good.
Hey, oh, and you might just, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. We got some more pictures.
All right, folks, we're going to move on to the next proclamation, Epilepsy Awareness Month. Whereas the Epilepsy Foundation of Colorado and Wyoming is the leader in connecting, educating, and empowering to improve the lives of everyone affected by epilepsy. Epilepsy is one of the most common neurological disorders while also remaining among the least understood of major chronic medical conditions, and we have the power to change this. While 1 in 26 will be diagnosed with epilepsy in their lifetime, nearly 60,000 individuals in Colorado face the daily challenge and stigma surrounding epilepsy. We need your help to expand education throughout the state, raise the public profile of epilepsy, and provide direct services to our highest needs population with uncontrolled seizures. Together, we can end the stigma. And whereas epilepsy is a neurological condition characterized by recurrent, unprovoked seizures, whereas epilepsy and seizures affect over 3 million people across the United States, including nearly 60,000 children and adults in the state of Colorado diagnosed with recurring seizures, and whereas epilepsy is the third most common neurological disorder among adults in the United States behind Alzheimer's disease and stroke. Whereas 10% of the American population will experience a seizure in their lifetime, 3% will develop epilepsy by age 75. Whereas epilepsy cannot currently be cured, many of those diagnosed with epilepsy can control their seizures with modern medicine and surgical techniques. And whereas National Epilepsy Awareness Month is designed to increase the awareness of epilepsy and to encourage Americans to join the movement to end the stigma often associated with epilepsy. Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Brian Harrington, acting as mayor and president of the governing body of the city of Laramie, do hereby proclaim November as Epilepsy Awareness Month and encourage our staff and residents to increase awareness within our city and community. And I believe we have Allie Condon and Mark Homer here this evening. If you all would like to come forward. We'll open the floor to you when you feel ready, and then invite you up for a picture if you feel comfortable. Welcome.
Thanks.
You're all right. Take
I'm
your time.
Mark Homer, Wyoming Director of the Epilepsy Foundation of Colorado and Wyoming, and thank you for reading our proclamation tonight. I apologize, you must have got the copy that didn't mention Wyoming, but we have 6,000 people in the state of Wyoming living with epilepsy, and 1 in 26 people during their lifetime will be diagnosed with epilepsy. And I'm really grateful to have Allie K. Dean here. She's a student at UW, and this is her service dog, Revere, aptly named. Allie's a history major, and as in Paul Revere, Revere alerts Allie when she's about to have a seizure.
Thank you. Welcome, Allie. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm one out of 26. Thank you for recognizing National Epilepsy Month. I am proud that Laramie is willing to learn more about the affliction. I suffer from epilepsy and struggle with the fact that it is an invisible disorder. Many people in Laramie may suffer from it, but most of the populace are unaware, as you can't tell those afflicted with it until the seizure actually happens. I'm lucky enough to have my service dog, Revere, with me, who is trained to sense seizures and help me get to the ground before the worst could happen. Even with the advantage, I'm still at risk because Revere can't call 911. She can go get help, but her main goal is to stop my head from hitting the sidewalk. So she will help me when I start recovering. People who suffer with epilepsy often go out and are worried about what's going to happen. Is there going to be someone that knows what I'm going through, what to do if I go down? Help. The proclamation like this helps raise awareness of the issues and get people to ask the right questions. This makes them better informed and able to help myself and others who suffer from the disorder. Thank you for raising awareness of epilepsy in Laramie, and thank you for having me.
Got it. Councilor O'Doherty, yeah, if you all feel comfortable, questions or comments?
I was wondering if I could ask you some questions since you thought it was appropriate to ask. So I've heard from someone with epilepsy that they don't want me to call an ambulance. So do you offer training, and then where do people go to get training so that we all know the right thing to do and aren't the person that's racking up bills?
Great question, Aaron. We offer seizure first aid training. We have different programs. For example, we're going to be giving on the UW campus November 17th. We'll have 3 sessions of they're each an hour long. Anybody can join, and that's called Seizure First Aid Ready. We also have a 90-minute certification program, and these can also be done remotely. So if you go to our website, or if you give me a call, we can set something up. We also have nurse training. That's like a 2-hour and 45-minute program that's conducted by, we have a physician's assistant from Children's Hospital in Denver who conducts those. And we have trainings throughout the year that are remotely done, or we can arrange something. We're going to be actively working this year with a volunteer advocacy group that's going to try passing a bill to ensure that throughout Wyoming. Every school has at least one person trained in seizure first aid. And to your point about not calling an ambulance, the basic 3 principles for seizure first aid are stay safe inside +5. So you want to stay with the person and keep them safe. And if they do fall, put them on their side, and you want to time it for 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, if they continue to have seizures or they remain in a seizure state, which we call status epilepticus at that point, then you want to call 911. So seizure first aid training is available to everyone, and it doesn't take up a lot of time, but you can learn and help save a life.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Doherty. That was valuable information. I would invite you both up for a picture. Oh, Councilor Gabriel, sorry.
I was just curious, is Revere with you all the time? Is that a requirement for your?
Yes. So Revere is constantly by my side. I like to tell people that if they want me there, Revere has to be there. But Revere will constantly be there. The only time she's not there is if it's deemed unsafe for her. And luckily, I have friends who have asked me what to do during a seizure. So if it did happen when the one time I don't have Revere, then I have people that know. But I won't be by myself during those times. When I came up here for school, before I had Revere, I was by myself, and it was a constant worry that I had put receipt paper in my pocket one day because I felt a scare coming on that said, I have seizures, my name is this, contact these numbers. In case anyone saw me down, they could be talked through what to do. But Revere was constantly with me, which helps.
Thank you, Councilor. Would you like to come up for a photo?
Sure.
Yeah. And I have a proclamation for you.
And
please.
if I may, we also offer summer camps for youth. We hosted a family camp at the V-Bar Ranch this year for epilepsy, and we have online support groups, and we have activities like our walk and other things that people can participate in.
Valuable. Thank you.
I'm going to hold the gate open so we can try that.
Yeah, please. Go ahead and hold this. I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Forget it's human.
Are you doing good?
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. All right. And finally, Apprenticeship Week. Whereas National Apprenticeship Week is celebrating the 9th anniversary of raising awareness of the vital role registered apprenticeships provide in creating opportunities by allowing apprentices to earn while they learn and preparing a pathway to good quality jobs and well-paying careers in the city of Laramie, Wyoming, and across the nation. And whereas registered apprenticeship programs enable employers to develop and train their future workforces while offering career seekers affordable paths to secure high-paying jobs. And whereas the city of Laramie recognizes the role of registered apprenticeships in expanding opportunities to our workforce that are inclusive of individuals who have been historically underserved, marginalized, or adversely affected by persistent poverty and inequality, thus providing a path for all qualified individuals, including women, youth, people of color, rural communities, justice-involved individuals, and individuals with disabilities to become apprentices and contribute to America's industries. And whereas the City of Laramie recognizes that registered apprenticeships, a proven and industry-driven training model, is a key strategy to improving job quality and creating access to good-paying, family-sustaining jobs for all, starting with youth and young adults. while addressing some of our nation's pressing workforce challenges, such as rebuilding our country's infrastructure, addressing critical supply chain demands, supporting a clean energy workforce, modernizing our cybersecurity response, and responding to care economy issues. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Brian Harrington, acting as mayor and president of the governing body of the city of Laramie, Wyoming, do hereby proclaim November 13th, 2023 through November 19th, 2023 as National Apprenticeship Week in the city of Laramie. And I don't believe this one we have anyone for, but I'm just going to give it a minute since I messed that up last time. Okay.
Yeah, Mayor, I believe that's correct.
Thank you, City Clerk.
Laura Baker was looking for another fill-in, but I didn't receive a confirmation on that.
Great. Well, thank you for that, and we'll get this passed off to them. All right, that is the end of proclamations. We're going to move to public hearings, and I'll recognize the city clerk for 6B1, 6B Romanet I suppose.
Thank you, Mayor. Notice is hereby given that on the 10th of October 2023, an application was received in the office of the city clerk for a transfer of retail liquor license number 8 for 307 Horse Racing Incorporated, doing business as 307 Horse Racing, located at 867 North 3rd Street, Laramie, Wyoming, for a license term of November 8th, 2023 through November 7th, 2024. Public hearing to hear comments and protests relative to this license application will be held Tuesday, November 7th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. in Council Chambers, 406 Ivinson Avenue, or via Zoom. Action on this application will be considered at the regular meeting of City Council on Tuesday, November 7th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. in Council Chambers. All information relative to this matter is available for review at the City of Laramie City Clerk's office at 406 Ivinson Avenue, Laramie, Wyoming. Anyone wishing to be heard should be present or may be represented by his or her agent at the meeting.
Thank you, City Clerk. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this public hearing? And I would note you'll have another opportunity during the agenda item. Seeing, yeah, please.
It looks like the applicant has their hand raised.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Kyle Ridgway. And Mr. Ridgway, when you are in the room, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had a little bit of a delay, and it feels a little weird being on Zoom given how your guys' meeting started. So I was sorry to see the way that went. But anyway, I would be there in person. I'm up here in Casper, Wyoming. I'm sick because my son brought something home from daycare. I guess it's that time of year. Anyway, we have an agreement with Copper's Bar to take that facility over. We did have to push our closing date back. So the only real comment I have related to the agenda item specifically is that what we would like is a contingent approval for the license transfer, but for the parties to be able to notify the city when the closings actually occurred for the transfer to be effective, because it's going to be later this month as opposed to tomorrow. We thought we could get everything lined up in time, but we needed a couple more weeks to do that. Basically, what we're doing is 307 Horse Racing is a historic horse racing operator in Casper, and throughout the state. I'm the vice president of that company. It's a 307 First company. It's Wyoming owned and operated. We don't have a location in Laramie. We have several locations across the state: Gillette, Sheridan, Casper, Cheyenne, Rawlins, Douglas, Torrington, Rock Springs. We just got one open. And so we're excited to be a part of the city of Laramie, and we're excited to have this project that does generate some local tax revenue for the city and the county. And so I'm happy to answer any questions about the project, but we look forward to, well, the other thing I should mention is that we're going to have to do some construction of the building. So we're hoping that we can be open by June. But we're going to have to do some electrical work, some HVAC work, some roof work, and clean up the outside of the building a little bit for it to meet the standards that we have for our location. So I'll stand for any questions about our project.
Thank you, Mr. Ridgway, and I hope you start feeling better. City Attorney?
Thank you.
Yeah, Mayor, I was wondering if we could ask Mr. Ridgway when they were intending to close, because maybe we should postpone this until
Sure.
that closer to that time.
We just,
Please, Mr. Ridgway.
We just set the closing date for the last date in November is the plan. We may close earlier than that, but we just had to push it to November 30 is what our paperwork has now.
And City Attorney, so it would make sense for us to hear this at our next regular meeting, and maybe we just postpone until then? Or?
I'd ask the clerk to weigh in.
So, Mayor, we have in the past done a contingency in the motion, so what I was planning to do when this item comes up on the regular agenda is to ask you for an amendment to your motion to approve, to include the contingency upon closing, if that's okay with the city attorney. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right. And Mr. Ridgway, we're going to hold you off on questions until we get to the actual item, but I appreciate you being here. Anyone else wish to speak to this public hearing? Seeing none, I'm going to close this public hearing and recognize the city clerk for the next one.
Notice is hereby given that a public hearing of the Laramie City Council will be held at 6:30 p.m. on November 7th, 2023, in City Council Chambers, Laramie City Hall, 406 Ivanson Avenue, Laramie, Wyoming. The meeting shall be held with both online Zoom and in-person option to take public comments on the following: Original Ordinance Number 2069, amending the Casper Aquifer Protection Overlay Zoning District for properties within the City of Laramie. Applicant, City of Laramie. All applications, plans, and specifications relative to these matters are available for review at the City of Laramie Planning Office at 405 Grand Avenue, Laramie, Wyoming. Anyone wishing to be heard should be present at City Council chambers or via Zoom.
Thank you, City Clerk. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this public hearing? Okay, seeing none, I will close. Sorry, let me make sure no one's on Zoom. Okay, I'm going to close that public hearing. And council members, we're going to move on to announcements. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a handful of announcements tonight. I wanted to share some good news with you from three separate parts of the city, and I think I'll start with Chief Brown from the Laramie Police Department, introducing a new addition to our staff.
Thank you, City Manager. Welcome, Chief Brown.
Mr. Mayor, Council, tonight I'm excited to announce some movement in our mental health response program. So over the last several months, we've been coordinating with several of our partners from the University of Wyoming Police Department, Albany County Sheriff's Department, and the Volunteers of America. And as part of the funding that you earmarked in May to help us move this pilot program forward, I'm excited to announce that the Volunteers of America Senior Director of Clinical Services for Albany County, Christine Cavello, is here with us tonight, and she's going to make an announcement reference our new caseworker who's going to start working out of the Laramie Police Department and collaborating with our partners at the University of Wyoming and the Albany County Sheriff's Department on November 15th. So I'll invite her up to make the introduction. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Chief Brown. We're very excited to make this announcement. As you all know, we've been talking about this for years, had a lot of build up to it. Council Cumbie has been a part of this process as well and having lots of conversations. We've been, again, a long time coming with this. So very excited to announce tonight that Heather Wiseman is going to be our new case manager at Volunteers of America as part of this project. Credit to Chief Brown with coming up with the name of the program being the ACT program, so Laramie Cares Team. Heather will head up this program then and will be integrated and embedded within the LPD, the Sheriff's Department, and also the UW Police. And so she'll be moving around to all of those agencies as well as connected with us still at VOA. This program then will allow for us to be able to help support individuals that are calling in that are having mental health crises. She will be able to, during the day and the week, help provide that support and provide follow-up then after hours for those individuals. We'll be also connected with our after hours on call so that we can provide greater support for our vulnerable and high-risk individuals in our county. So we're very excited for that.
Well, welcome. This is really great. I hope you know that your work is meaningful and really does affect the lives of folks in our city. So the council is really happy to have a chance to meet you. So thank you, Ms. Fellow and Chief Brown. Thank you.
Thank you all. We appreciate it.
Great.
Mayor, the next announcement is recognizing some awards staff recently received in the planning section. And our Community and Economic Development Director, Derek Taney, will make those introductions.
Director Taney.
Mayor and council, I wanted to take the opportunity to make a couple quick announcements regarding some of the efforts that have gone on here at the City of Laramie. The first one I'm going to do is related to the Wyoming Planning Association's recognition of Sharon Pacino.
Yes.
And so I made her come tonight as the Planning Commissioner of the Year for the state of Wyoming. And so normally I would do this also at Planning Commission first, but I did it because our meeting got canceled because we just don't have any items, and I try not to have them come to meetings when they don't have anything to do.
Just to
and so
celebrate.
I wanted to get this out there so that she didn't accidentally see in our newsletter that'll go out like any day now. So Sharon, though, has been an integral part of our Planning Commission. She's now served a full term and has been reappointed, and just brings great discussion, great points of view, good questions, and her fellow Planning Commissioners recognize that. And so I just want to present to you the 2023 Planning Commissioner of the Year Award to Sharon Pacino.
You're here. Can we get a picture with you? Come up here.
Okay.
We want to be in this picture too.
No, we'll find our way. We'll be in there.
It's these little things here.
Jane's going to be looking somewhere else.
All righty.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharon.
Very well deserved.
And to keep things rolling, this year also, Wyoming Planning Association recognized as Planning Project of the Year the Laramie Area Growth Plan. And so we were awarded that at our fall conference as well. I think just to point out, I mean, this is a big deal. The growth plan that was approved is something unique. It's under the first set. It's the first community to do this under the current rules. And as we keep moving forward, I hope we're kind of trailblazing that process and maybe putting things into place for other communities to be able to use. So this commission and the Planning Commission, the City Council, Albany County Commissioners, the Albany County Planning and Zoning Commission should all be proud of the work that they did. So,
thank you, Derek.
So it's totally up to you, Council. I think Owen's here to take pictures.
Please.
Yes. So.
Also, what happened to Philip? He was here.
I know, we lost him.
Get him out of here. He's quit. Which council members were on that group? I think it was not a very active group because it sort of ended up with staff. So actually, I'm not going to thank any of us. Good job. All right. Thank you.
Nice work, Derek.
City Manager, you're really setting a high bar for how these are going to go from here on.
And there's one more announcement. If you have not seen them, wayfinding signs are up.
They look great.
They were gorgeous.
Short announcement.
Mayor and Council, Todd Fieser's going to tell you about some beautification.
Assistant City Manager, please.
Right, guys, Nancy's going to bring up. We had a few things happen, 3 quick announcements today. On the retaining wall that's on 30th Street, the big white retaining wall, we had a free art project that went up. It's called The Really Big Paste. If you go to the next slide, please. The Mark Ritchie, Professor Emeritus at the University of Wyoming, installed the public art private view, the really big paste, last week. It's been up for about 7 days. It's already started to wear, so if you want to see it, you better get out there and see it now if you go to the next slide. It's an ephemeral installation, which is very temporary, paper prints attached with wheat paste to the white wall, led by the Laramie Public Art Coalition and fully donated project by a collaboration of artists. There are 9 artists and some, I think, as far away as what was the one that I saw was interesting? Florida, New Hampshire. So pretty excited to see that, to have that out there. So make sure if you get a chance to go by and see it. It does not stand out really very well, but the intent of that is that it will wear off over time, look like ghost images, and before too long it won't be seeable anymore. We also wanted to announce it's out that congrats to the Wyoming Outdoor Recreation Grant Program. We were awarded $700,000 for the Laramie Bike Park. So our intent is to hopefully get that bid out this fall and have it under construction in the spring and hopefully installed as we move forward with that. And one more slide. The weather this fall has been great for construction. The Spring Creek Trail Phase 1, which is the trail from 30th to LaPrelle Park, by all intensive purposes, I believe that they will have the trail finished and available for public use. It won't be, the project won't be completed because we'll still have some items to do, but it will be safe for public travel by the time they shut down. So hopefully we'll see public use of the trail, and it's been a fun project and lots of good things happening out there. So thank you.
Thank you, Todd. And if you didn't see it on that slide, Pilot Hills Trailhead was also awarded a grant. So great news, and Sarah's here. So congratulations to you as well. Thank you. And all of us, I guess, are going to benefit from that one too. So, that was a nice turnaround to our meeting. Thank you, everyone. Any other announcements, City Manager? No. Council members, any disclosures on this evening's agenda? Okay. Seeing none, I'm going to move to the Vice Mayor for approval of the consent agenda.
I move that the consent agenda be approved and that each specific action on the consent agenda be approved as indicated.
Second.
Motion by Cumbie, second by Richardson. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville. Absent. Cumbie.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. Items on the consent agenda have been approved. And then I will go to Councilor Richardson for item 11.
Just one question for City Clerk. When I'm reading this, because we are changing it to contingent on closing, correct, for this?
You could put it in now if you wanted to. So yeah, contingent upon closing.
To replace the November 8th date?
Why don't you make the motion and then we can,
Just as
then
is?
it'll be on the
Okay.
floor and then we
Okay.
can discuss it a little
Discuss
better.
then? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I move to approve the application to transfer retail liquor license number 8 to 307 Horse Racing, Inc., DBA 307 Horse Racing, located at 867 North 3rd Street, Laramie, Wyoming, for the licensing term November 8, 2023 through May 7th, 2024, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion by Richardson, second by Newman. You finished faster, you know? All right. City Clerk, I will recognize you for a quick run through of this, and then we'll move to an amendment.
Thank you, Mayor. So the application before you tonight was received on October 10th. It was formerly known as Copper's Bar LLC, and has the transfer before you is for 307 Horse Racing LLC. They do have other locations within the state, as you heard from the applicant during the public hearing, some of them being Rollins and Casper, along with a few other locations as well. From the city clerk's review, we have no concerns about the transfer. A retail liquor license is the most flexible liquor license in the state of Wyoming. So they can have have, from what I've been told by the applicant, they are not planning to have package sales out of the store, more just a place that folks can come and participate in the games that they have there. So I don't see a conflict in our local code or in state statute that conflicts. So at this time, I have no concerns. We have submitted the application to the Wyoming Liquor Division, and they didn't have any concerns on the application either. So with that, we did have our applicant on, so I believe he's still with us if you have any questions on that. I would like to ask the council, as Councilor Richardson stated, for an amendment to the motion.
Can we put it, City Clerk, just by way of lending a first thought here, can we just put it after Laramie, Wyoming? So it would say horse racing located at 867 North 3rd Street, Laramie, Wyoming, contingent on closing for the license term November 30th, since that is their closing date.
I think what we can do, Mayor, is along that same line, for the license term of November 30th through May 7th, 2024, contingent upon the closing.
Okay, that works for me.
Is that? No, that's okay. After 2024, contingent upon closing. Does that sound good to you?
Okay. Any questions, council members? We don't have that motion on the floor yet. Just any questions on the license itself?
I guess not a question. I'll wait until the comment.
Oh, you can go ahead with comments. That's all right.
I just want to, just been thinking about this idea of, gambling and drinking in one space. And I will say I have gambled and drank and done it all together at one time, but thinking about our populations who are a little bit more, who maybe have addiction issues and who are lower income in our community. And I just wonder if a retail license for liquor in an establishment where we are also gambling, I don't think I'm necessarily saying we should or shouldn't, but the discussion about when thinking about kind of mental health and what we have stated are kind of our values for council, how does combining these two things support or not support that issue?
Thank you, Councilor. Anyone else? Okay. Councilor Richardson, I'm going to go back to you just for the amendment, just to clean that up if we could.
Okay. I move to approve the application to transfer retail liquor license number 8 to 307 Horse Racing, Inc., DBA 307 Horse Racing, located at 867 North 3rd Street, Laramie, Wyoming, for the licensing term November 30th, 2023 through May 7th, 2024, contingent on closing, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion by Richardson, seconded by Cumby. So the amendment will just be that change of date and contingency. Everybody feel okay? Any questions? Further comments? We will go to the public, and then we can come back to Mr. Mr. Ridgway, I might recognize you before in case there's anything you'd like to add from the public hearing, since the public hearing. Yeah, and if you wouldn't mind, I suppose Councilor Shumway is correct. At this point, your comments would just be limited to the amendment itself. So just the contingency and date change. I'm going to wager you don't have a lot of comments on that.
I don't have any comments on the amendment.
Great. Any members of the public wishing to speak to that amendment? Seeing none, I will close the public comment period on the amendment itself. Back to the council for any comments. And Mr. Ridgway, if there's anything you'd like to add, but again, we are on the amendment.
I guess I would just say we are sensitive to Councilwoman Richardson's comments. We had the same concerns when we originally showed up and shared, and some of that I believe is due to a stigma from the out-of-state operators that are in this industry versus how we operate as a locally owned and operated business with people that actually live in these communities. we pride ourselves in offering first-class establishments and think that we do it the Wyoming way, where we try to make sure, people are there to have a good time, but that it's done in a safe and responsible manner. And I think our track record in the communities that we've been in speaks for itself. Most of the communities have been, actually all of them have been incredibly happy with the product that we've been able to offer, because I think it's a contrast from what you have seen in Laramie to this point versus what we're going to be able to offer. So we look forward to being able to prove ourselves in that respect, but I appreciate that comment, and we are sensitive to what Councilwoman Richardson discussed related to mental health issues and making sure that we're offering this in a responsible way.
Thank you. All right, I got us a little off the rails structure-wise here, council members, so I'm going to go back to the council for any comments before the vote on the amendment. So City Clerk, when you're ready, you can call the roll on the amendment.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville, absent. Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. Then back to the main motion. Council members, anything else on the main motion for the public? If any member of the public would like to speak to this item in its entirety as amended, now's your chance. Go ahead and come forward or raise your hand if you're on Zoom. All right. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment period. And Mr. Ridgway, I think I got us. I kind of led you down the wrong path there, but if you'd like to add anything else, please feel free. Okay. Council members, anything else before the vote? City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
No.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville, absent. Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 7 yeses, 1 no, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That has been approved. Good luck. I meant that sincerely. It came out not sincere. It was meant to be sincere.
Thank you very much.
Item 12, Councilor Newman.
I move to approve Resolution 2023-84, amending City Council Rules of Procedure to require the use of video cameras for web conference participation, and amend public comment language and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion by Newman, second by Richardson. Council members, these code of conduct revisions really are the result of some of the things that we've had in our public comments recently. And they're an effort to try to deter some of that. And so I think you all can have reviewed them, can make whatever determination you would like. But City Attorney, is there anything you would like to add to this conversation, given that I ask you to do the heavy lifting here?
Sorry, Mayor. I did half of it. City Clerk did the other half. On the, and the clerk can speak to the camera, how we operate the camera and having the camera on. She revised those sections. I basically looked at the general rules, 4.02 and 4.03, disruption of public meetings. And if you want, I can explain what I did.
Council members, I'm assuming you all have had a chance to review these changes? Okay. That's okay then, City Attorney. Councilor Newman?
I wanted to say I also started writing this way before that last meeting because it was brought to my attention that we want transparency throughout the city, but there are members of City Council, when we zoom in, we don't turn our cameras on when we're speaking to the public or to council. And I am one of the ones who was called out to my face on it, and I didn't have a real answer on why I didn't turn my camera on, and I think this will help that situation as well.
Thank you, Councilor Newman. I appreciate the candid explanation. And council members, just by way of explanation, Councilor Newman had brought forward a resolution aiming at the camera idea, and I just thought it was appropriate to loop it in since we were talking rules of procedure anyway, to include it here. And then the vice mayor and I had several conversations with the city clerk and city attorney about the language of the other changes. Councilor O'Doherty?
My one concern about the camera is that when we first started our Zoom meetings, we got a little porno bomb on our meetings. So I didn't know how to not, because I really don't want to see people's genitals when we're having a city council meeting. So how do we protect us from that?
Councilor Newman?
So when I started writing this, I wanted to make sure, and I talked to the city clerk as well, because we run a web conference, not a Zoom meeting, we can kick them out just like we did this morning, or the beginning. So there might be a split second, but there's nothing that we can do to stop that part. But we can kick them out.
So I was talking to, I think, Councilor Cumbie today, saying that image is still burned on our brains, and we can't, like, bleach it out, so.
We talked about it as well.
Yeah, okay, well, yeah. I guess we take our chances.
Something stick with you, you know?
Yeah.
My memory is all of the council members frantically trying to get off Zoom as quick as they could. Any other questions or comments, council members? Yeah, Vice Mayor, please.
I would point out that that was, I think, our first time on Zoom, was it?
It was quite early, yeah. Yeah, City Clerk?
I'm not sure if it was the first time, but it was towards the beginning of the pandemic. And as Councilor Newman stated, that is part of why we moved to webinar, because it gives us a few more controls that we didn't have in a meeting format. However, it doesn't fully prevent that. If we give members of the public on Zoom the ability to be seen, so you can see facial expressions and things like that, there's no way to 100% block that out, I don't think.
Thank you. Councilor Doherty?
I think that we have built-in safeguards, and that's good. And I imagine, I think it would be nice if it weren't always up to the clerk to have to remove the video. But I also think that your point about seeing facial expressions, that's important, because not everyone can communicate without it. I just want to take a point of privilege, I guess, is to say that this behavior that we heard tonight, it's very disturbing, given that especially Veterans Day is this week, and that we literally fought a war against Nazis, and it was the same propaganda that's being regurgitated. And so I do feel like people have free speech, but we don't have to give them a platform to do it. We don't have to provide the soapbox. So I feel very strongly that this is the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Doherty. And just by way of a note, anyone who, Councilor Shomai, I know you were talking about calling in. If you aren't going to be able to have your camera on, please just reach out. That's included here. I mean, we're not going to litigate every opportunity now to not be on camera, but just please reach out and let the Vice Mayor or City Clerk or I know. Councilor Newman?
And just a point of information, there are plenty of videos on YouTube on how to turn on your camera, how to set up all the settings correctly. So I would have people go look at that as well.
Thank you, Councilor Newman. Anyone else? Councilor Pierce, please.
Yeah, so I know this might be a little silly, but our previous mayor, his meetings were quite lengthy. And during some of those meetings and during the pandemic, I would say 95-ish to 100% of the time my camera was on. But he wasn't really good at taking breaks either. And so when I needed to take a break, I would turn my camera off. So I just want to know if something like that is allowed. I see privacy concerns here, but I don't necessarily think going to the bathroom is an extenuating circumstance. So I just feel like there has to be some leeway in this. because if I'm at home on Zoom and you can see my face most of the time, I feel like I should be able to take a break occasionally, go grab a cup of tea, whatever it happens to be. So as long as that's okay, I'm okay. But if that becomes a thing, then I'm not okay.
I believe, I might be wrong, and I'll recognize Councilor Newman, but it is when you are speaking. Correct, Councilor Newman?
So when I wrote this the first time, I didn't take that into consideration. And then I was like, you know what, like I sat through some of those meetings that you guys had to sit through before I was on council. And I was just like, nah, that wouldn't be a thing. And then talking to other council members. So it is the only time that theoretically, according to this, that you need your camera on is when you're addressing council or staff. Or a vote. Those were the three things.
Yes.
So as long as you're not talking, if you're not part of the discussion, your camera does not have to be on.
So can you point me to that? Because I thought I did this pretty good earlier today.
Under F, Mayor and Council,
City Clerk.
in web conference, where the blue starts, it says all participants, including members of the city council, city officials, and members of the public, must have their video cameras enabled and turned on when they wish to address the council, interact with staff, or participate in voting during council meetings.
Okay, I'm good.
Great.
Thanks.
Good question, though. All right, anyone else?
Personal, but
I mean,
just get it out there.
but yeah, we have to figure it out, right? All right, anyone else? Okay, we'll go to the public on this. If there's any member of the public wishing to speak to the council on this item, go ahead and raise your hand. Come forward if you're in the room. Seeing none, I'll close the public comment period. Council members, any comments before the vote? Okay, City Clerk, you can call the roll, please.
Mayor, before I call roll, I just wanted to know.
Thank you.
You're not crazy. I'm looking at when we uploaded the resolution, the attachment A, it automatically made the changes that we were recommending. However, if you look in your cover sheet, it shows you in blue what those additions were. So just to make that clarification.
Okay, thanks.
Please. Please.
I wanted to thank Councilor Richardson and Vice Mayor Cumby with helping writing the resolution as well.
Great. Thank you, Councilor Newman. Credit where it's due. All right. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Newman.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville absent. Richardson.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. We will move on to item 13, Councilor Gabriel.
Thank you, Mayor. I would move to approve original ordinance number 2069 on second reading, amending the Casper Aquifer Protection Overlay Zoning District for properties within the city of Laramie as shown in attachments figure 1 through 3, location of the Casper Aquifer Protection Area, and attachments A through E of the ordinance in accordance with findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
Motion by Gabriel, second by Newman. Director Taney, any new information on this one?
Mayor, Council, the item before you is the second reading of the, no change has been made since the first reading. I did want to just point out, we received a few additional phone calls regarding the public hearing notice that went out, mostly all inquiries into where their property landed, but no comments either for or against. So I felt like that would be important for you to know. Aside from that, I've got nothing to add to the presentation or comments related to the staff report. I can answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. Council members, any questions? Seeing none, we'll go to the public. Any members of the public wish to speak to this item? Raise your hand on Zoom or come forward in the room. Seeing none, I'm going to close that public comment period. Council, any comments before the vote? City Clerk, you can call the roll, please.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Somerville absent. Shumway.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. on second reading, so 2 weeks, council members will have it back before us. Item 14, Councilor Pierce.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to revoke the mobile vending license MVL 8089662 for Taqueria Los Primos per Laramie Municipal Code 5.82.050 due to a violation of Laramie Municipal Code 5.82.050.A.3, a violation of provisions of the Laramie Municipal Code and ordinance related to health, safety, and welfare of the public.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Pierce, second by Richardson. Director Taney.
Mayor, Council, the item before you is related to revocation of a mobile vending license. In order to provide just a little bit of background, during the development of our mobile vending regulations, we did have some discussions with the council while we were going through that ordinance process as to what we would do when we had issues. And there's kind of a two-part process. One, the staff level, we can suspend a license, and then that suspension then can come before you, the council, in terms of potential revocation of the license. The item before you is potential revocation of a license related to Taqueria Los Primos. Mr. Vasquez is the owner of that. He is here tonight. And very briefly, staff has brought this before the council for consideration due to a violation of our municipal code, specifically dumping of wastewater into our stormwater system. In two instances, the city found him to be dumping into our stormwater system. That is not where wastewater goes. Wastewater goes into our sewer system. Those are two very distinct things. What we found is on September 11th, we did provide a mobile vending license to Mr. Vasquez and his operation. However, on September 22nd, 2023, City of Laramie staff observed the illegal dumping of the gray water into the stormwater system. We contacted him through our health inspector, Cody Talbot, and told them that this was not permitted and that they needed to find a proper disposal location, sanitary sewer, or such as an RV dumping station. Following that warning, on September 28th, we observed, the City of Laramie staff observed again, the same situation occurring into the sewer system. At that time, I was contacted by our Public Works Department, who were the ones who notified me of that violation. We then posted the mobile vending unit, as well as sent a letter suspending the license until this hearing could be held. Really what we have is you're not permitted to dump wastewater into our stormwater system. That goes for mobile vendors, and it goes for people within the city and anywhere. So with that, we proposed and we have put into the staff report the option for City Council to revoke the license. Really, aside from that, that's all I have to present. We've provided you the pictures, actually, of the incident. And I think that following that, we really haven't received any comments or anything like that related to this item. And so I think it would be probably appropriate to hear from the owner, if the mayor so chose. And I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Director Taney. Council members, before he sits down, any questions at this point before we go to the owner? Okay, seeing none, thank you. Mr. Vasquez, please come forward. Welcome.
Hey, hi. Everybody.
How are you?
First of all, we did make that mistake. We didn't know that it wasn't right to do it until the health inspector notarized and tell us not to do it. But one of my employees, it was a miscommunication, and one of my employees talked to another guy that he said that there's a sewer right here on the main street, 3rd Street, and there's another sewer right here, another for the storm rain water. So he was tell one of my employees, it was still then it wasn't okay in this one, but it was okay in this other side. But it was the same thing. So, but I'm really sorry, and I want to see if I can get my license back and apologize to the whole city of Laramie for what happens. And I really, honestly, we already have a plan for that. We have a tank in the trailer, but we also buy an extra tank for the water, and we're just gonna use the dump station over there by the jail over there.
By the territorial prison?
Yeah, by territories. Yes. But I am really sorry. I don't know how much of damage we were causing by doing that.
Okay.
But now I spoke to somebody that knows more than I do, and he's like, yeah, because the storm water goes to another place, and the water for you, it's just water dish from the dishes. It goes to a different system, But I'm really sorry and embarrassed for what I done, but I'd like to see if I can keep my license back, because that's the only income we have right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Council members, any questions? City Attorney, I'm curious if there's any sort of process outlined in that section of code for how this would actually function, because it seems that this maybe isn't the smoothest way.
Well, Mayor, Council, what I'd say is the staff has done everything correctly, right? I mean, they, we're extremely careful to get pictures, and they've given the written warning. So I'd say a couple of things. Number one, to answer your direct question, it requires due process to take away a license, and due process is not something done lightly. I mean, the staff has done everything correctly, but I am not so sure that the respondent has responded in the way that they could, in writing and testimony, etc. So yes, to answer your direct question. Point two is you have freedom to do other things rather than revoke the license. I mean, you have freedom to give the warning, the final, next time it's revocation. But if it comes to revocation, I'd like to see more process than a motion and some discussion.
Okay, thank you. And council members, that really is to the heart of my question. I wasn't sure. I don't have a sense of you all's opinion of this, but I'm not sure if we're aimed to the path of revocation, I'm not sure that, I think we would need to table it and have a process in place for that. But any questions or comments, council members, at this point? Councilor Richardson?
I guess I'm kind of, I get a sense kind of feeling similarly that the revoking right away in this manner, first off, thank you staff for following through on everything the way that you should have, and that's very appreciated. But jumping to that drastic measure of someone's income without hearing more is a little bit difficult for me as well. I'd also like to know, I guess, what sorts of things as a person applies for, and perhaps this was discussed obviously when you guys set up these licenses, but are in place for when a person does apply for these, about like, is that sort of the waste piece of it included in this is how you must kind of take care of the things that would normally just be naturally taken care of in a permanent building? Is that something we should look at to include so it maybe doesn't happen in the future if it isn't there? And I don't know if it is or not.
Thank you, Councilor Richardson. Anyone else? Go, Councilor Newman. I nodded at you and said I saw you, and then I just moved right on.
Is it okay if I ask the owner a question?
Please, yeah.
What, yeah, come on up, sir. So you have a plan, and it sounds like it's a good plan.
Yeah, we have a plan for that.
Can you tell me how you have implemented that into your training of your employees so this wouldn't happen again?
We only have 2 employees, and I will make sure they're all, when the time I'm going, or if I'm not here, I will make sure I mean, we have a tank, a 60-gallon tank, wastewater, and we buy another 250 gallons wastewater, which is gonna, I mean, it's just too much about moving the trailer every day to go dump. It's a lot of work and incurs like more expensive, for gas and stuff. But we buy another gallon with a pump, which when this key fill, the water is gonna pump right in the back of my truck. I have the waste tank, and it's gonna go right there. And all the employees will know when the tank is full, the water from there is gonna go to the tank. When the tank is filled, I mean, it's gonna probably take about 2-3 days. We're gonna take it to the dump station over there. That's my plan for now. And yeah, that's what I have.
Okay.
Question for staff now.
Please, yeah.
Staff, does this create a problem of transporting the waste in the back of a truck?
Mayor, council, no, it's perfectly fine. Works good, yeah.
Thank you. Great. You good? Yeah. Councilor Doherty?
I'd be comfortable denying the recommendation from staff if they can see the new setup. Like if that setup can be verified. I'm not sure how to write that as an amendment. Trust but verify. So I'm not, so I guess maybe, is it easier to postpone and then have language post?
Director Taney, you look like you have a thought. Be best to sort it if we can, I suppose.
I would, Mayor, council, if your choice is to allow them to get back in operating, and would like us to look at the setup just to make sure it looks like it's going to work, I would just include in your motion to deny the ability for staff to inspect the holding tank prior to reopening. And we would be able to then no longer have a suspended license.
Okay. That brings up a process question for me, because our motion, and to the applicants, I apologize, I'll walk you through, this is going to get into the weeds for a minute process-wise. But City Clerk, we currently have a motion to revoke, an amendment to a motion to revoke that the council would then deny. The amendment wouldn't matter anymore, right? Because the amendment would be disposed of too. So do we have a process for the health inspector to just, as Councilor Doherty said, verify, to just make sure that after an action like this, there is, or we have to move to continue the mobile vending licenses as far as I can tell. We'd have to amend it, and then we'd have to amend it again to include this language, right? City Clerk, City Attorney, anyone? I feel off the rails, but.
I feel this is a question for the city clerk.
Yeah, I thought, okay.
Of course you do.
Can I just think this through? And
sure.
If I could ask Derek Keeney to weigh in, it's pretty easy, the parliamentary stuff. Somebody could make a motion to amend, to deny revocation.
Yeah.
Conditioned on
inspection of the holding tank prior to reopening.
Moved to deny revocation after inspection of the holding tank. Contingent on, anybody got that? I can't make a motion, so anybody else feel like they got a handle on it? Councilor Gabriel's writing frantically. Councilor Newman?
Can I ask the other quick question?
Sure you can.
Are you okay with this?
Yeah.
Is, showing the health inspector that you have this secondary tank now?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have the one that comes with the trailer, which is certified already. And then right now we're just waiting for the pump to get here so we can assemble it to the other tank. I mean, right now, because the weather conditions, we don't know if we're gonna get operating for this year, but we still wanna have our license ready for next for next summer, like in April. We like to, I mean, we're gonna work on this. I mean, as soon as the pump is here, we're gonna get them figuring that out. But like I say, right now with the weather changes, you know, it's kind of hard to, I mean, we have a plan.
And Mr. Vasquez, in the meantime, you'll just be using the internal tank?
For now,
in your
yes,
trailer?
because the weather is not
Do
gonna
it.
let us, you know, the weather is not gonna let us pump when it's 10 below outside. It's not gonna.
Yeah, sure.
Not gonna do it.
So for now, you use the internal tank and
For
just
now,
drive
yes.
it back and forth? Okay.
And then in the summer, when it's hot and we get more busy, then that's when we're gonna implement the other plan.
Okay. Thank you.
I think our amendment needs to change probably then.
Councilor Gabriel, do you feel like you have an amendment scribbled out over there?
I've got it, I'm not sure how, do we deny the first motion and then go back and pass this contingency?
I think the First Amendment needs to be to move to, I guess you would move to an insert deny before revoke, right?
Mayor?
Or, yeah, please, City Clerk, I'm off the rails here.
Put cards together.
We were just thinking it might be easier if we withdraw the motion on the floor
Okay.
and start from scratch.
Okay. That sounds great. Okay. That's to you, Councilor Pierce, if you would like to withdraw your motion.
I move to withdraw my motion.
Second.
Second,
Does
were you the original second?
Oh, wait. Yeah, she was.
Okay, great. Nailed it.
And then,
Thank you,
Mayor,
Councilor
if we
Anderson.
could just have a vote of the council, since this has
Sure.
been on the floor for discussion to okaying the.
Okay, can I use a voice vote?
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor of withdrawing the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Great. All right. Back to, we are going to now make a new motion, if you feel ready, Councilor Gabriel. Oh, yeah, please, Director Taney. We have.
Mayor and council, so I think a clean motion may be to move to reinstate the mobile vending license pending inspection of the holding tank.
Okay. Thank you.
Simple.
That's a nice one.
Who would like that? Councilor Gabriel,
So
go ahead. Please go ahead. Please, starting from scratch. It's all yours.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. I would move council to reinstate the mobile vending license for Taqueria Los Primos, pending the inspection by city staff of the holding tank contingent on opening.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Shumway. Okay. Council members, any discussion? Vice Mayor, please.
I understood from Mr. Vasquez that since the season is closing down and you maybe only have a few weeks, you were planning on using the tank currently in the trailer and going back and forth. Our amendment states contingent on inspection of the extra holding tank, which if he closes down for the winter and then opens back up in April, the way that we've worded it, he would not be able to open until that time.
Vice Mayor, yeah, you're correct there, I think. Councilor Newman?
I had the same, what's stopping, like, so we reinstate this, pump doesn't come in for a while, gets backlogged, and somebody calls him and wants him to do something in December. He has to tell them no, and that's, if this is his only income, I don't think the wording will work the best. Because I just think that we're putting too much on it. Like, if we're going to reinstate it, the health inspector, it's my understanding, can go look at it whenever. So putting that restraint on it could put more of a restraint on his income. is kind of my thinking on it as well. Because it sounds like he has a plan to use it, and then in the summer, we will have to use the bigger tank, is kind of my understanding. So I would vote no on this one.
City Clerk?
Mayor, thank you. The motion, as I recorded it anyways, was just inspection of the holding tank, which didn't say the extra holding tank. So, correct me, he's rolling his eyes at me. But I think it could lead to, the health inspector going out and inspecting the holding tank that's currently in use for the validity of that. And then as you prepare the additional holding tank, he can come out and do that in additional inspection. I don't know.
City Clerk, I appreciate you bringing that up, because I think what's important, Council, is that we need some assurance that there is a plan in place and that things are working properly, right? And we don't, it doesn't make sense, maybe, to me, it feels like the additional holding tank is above and beyond the requirement and is simply just a value add for the business owner to save money on gas, right? Like, or convenience or whatever the sort of factors may be. We don't need to inspect that piece. That is correct. We are safe once we know the wastewater is not entering our stormwater system. That, to me, is what we need assurance of. I don't know if anyone agrees or not, but Councilor Newman?
So, with that being said, in my opinion only, he's already been licensed, which means we've already looked at his trailer and it's already passed. So the only thing that we can do at this moment is reinstate it with his word that he's not going to put it in the sewer because it's already been inspected, correct? So am I safe to say it's been inspected so we know there's a tank there? And going and looking at said tank will not say that his staff will put this in the sewer again?
Mayor, Council, that's correct. We've inspected the unit. Everything meets all of our standards. The tank is there, unless he removed it at some point, which I don't think he has. I don't think he's done that. I mean, it's more about where's the wastewater going.
So we just have to take his word then.
I mean, yeah, but I do think there may be, for the sake of brevity this evening, but also so we don't walk back through another set of motions, it might be meaningful for us to go inspect, even if it is sort of a formality. Director Taney, and then Vice Mayor.
Mayor, Council, maybe just reinstatement, and that to allow for the city to check for compliance with city code. Simple. It's to the point. We can check it, and that's all we need to do. And Mr. Vasquez can say that he's going to properly dispose of the wastewater, which that's what we want.
Thank you, Director Taney. Councilor Gabriel, I don't know if you want to make an amendment to this that we could just deem friendly, and then the second can concur to it. I don't know if you caught enough of that. Director Taney can whisper it to you again if that's helpful.
I've got the compliance with the city code part. So more than that?
Nope, reinstate the license, and that allows the city staff to check for compliance with city code.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay. Would you deem that a friendly amendment since you made the original motion and the second would concur?
Yes.
City Clerk, do you feel caught up there? This has been a real fun one.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Council members, and just for the owner, where we've ended up is allowing you to resume business. You will have, potentially some inspection. We are not revoking your license if this passes, just because we got in the weeds and it was probably pretty confusing where we were at. So to state it very clearly.
That's what the vote is.
I want you to continue, keep your water out of the storm water.
All right.
Depending on the vote.
Okay. Council members, I'm going to go to the public on this. If the public has hung on enough to know where we're at, it is your chance to speak to us. Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close public comment. Council members, back to you for any comments, Yeah, Vice Mayor, I forgot to go back to you earlier. I apologize.
That's okay, I knew you'd get to me. I just, as liaison to the Board of Health, I do want to say that once something gets on the radar, so to speak, there is follow-up that takes place afterward, and our inspector, Cody Talbot, is very good about that, and so we'll follow up, he will follow up usually a couple of times just to make sure that the changes are sustained.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilor Pierce?
And I'm wondering if we may need some amendments to our ordinance in terms of different steps or something. Maybe not for discussion now, but perhaps
That might be wise.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw that on our work session list at the end. I didn't mean that to seem flippant either. I'm just on the roll today. Okay. My gosh, I must be dead inside. All right, folks, we're going to go to the vote. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville absent. Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. Thank you all. Good luck. All right, item 15, Vice Mayor.
I move to adopt Resolution 2023-85, acknowledging and accepting the award of a Wyoming Rural Public Transit Program grant through the Wyoming Department of Transportation Local Government Coordination Office in the amount of $160,000, including matching funds of $40,000 for the transit planning project, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion by Cumby, second by O'Doherty. City Manager, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, this grant, as you know, was submitted in June to deal with a lack of availability, and diversity in our local transportation options. The lack of public transportation in Laramie routinely ranks among the top concerns of our citizens and also of nonprofit service providers and the healthcare community. The 2020 Health Needs Assessment conducted by a hospital showed that respondents felt lack of transportation was impeding their ability to access health care, mental health services, child care, employment, and grocery. Also, this spring, in February of '23, you received the Age-Friendly Laramie Action Plan that also echoed and reinforced the need for improving public transportation options in Laramie, and that same finding was a result of the Thrive Economic Development Plan. So with all of that knowledge under our belt, we applied for federal pass-through funds coming from the federal government through the Wyoming Department of Transportation for planning and technical assistance to address the very well-demonstrated need for public transportation. We submitted that application with the partnership of the 2 existing transportation providers in Laramie, which is the Epson Center for Seniors and their paratransit program, and the University of Wyoming Transit Program. In June of 2023, the Y-Trans Board reviewed and approved our grant, and we have executed the subrecipient agreement between WYDOT and the city, and our project is ready to launch. What we're asking you to do tonight is to acknowledge and accept that award. That will greenlight a series of steps to get the transit plan in motion. We hope to have it completed by December 31st of 2026. One thing you should know is with accessibility acceptance of this grant and the funding moving forward, you'll probably see on a future agenda a companion item to this, which is to reestablish the Albany County Transportation Authority, or ACTA. I recently had the chance to visit with the county commissioners, asking if they would consider reinstating that board, because we believe that that board would be a great collaborative space for us to work with those partners at Epson and UW, as well as with other folks in the community to complete the work of planning public transportation for Laramie and Albany County. You'll also note that with the acceptance of this grant, we're now advertising for a part-time contract project manager. We did request funding to cover that within the grant, and did receive that, and so that person, when hired, will work part-time for us on a contract basis and execute the process. And it's an involved process that will involve requests for proposal going out in early 2024, and the engagement of a transportation planning professional or professionals to help us move this plan forward. There is a description in the cover sheet of the steps that we will take in completing this, and if you have any questions about those, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, City Manager. Anyone have any questions? City Clerk, do you happen to recall, or anyone recall, who the ACTA liaison is for the council? Did we appoint one? Yeah, City Clerk.
Mayor, the board has been dissolved currently, so we don't.
So we haven't appointed. I didn't know if it was on the list, right? So I didn't know if we picked someone or not. Great. Just wanted to make sure they weren't burdened because they thought they got a freebie. Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Okay, we'll go to the public on this. Any member of the public wishing to speak to this item can raise your hand or come forward if you're in the room. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment period. Back to the council for any comments. Councilor O'Doherty, please.
I just want to tell, I'm so glad we have a city manager, and I'm so glad we have staff to put this together, because this has been a needed Laramie, well, forever. And I remember when I first got on council, trying to get together with county and Epson Center and the university to try to improve public transit, and not really having the resources. So I'm eternally grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Doherty. Vice Mayor?
I also want to say thank you very much to the city manager and the staff. And I just think that this is a significant step forward to the health and well-being of the community, as well as to economic development, fostering tourism, et cetera. So I'm very excited about this.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Anyone else? Okay. This is really exciting. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville, absent. Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. We're going to move then to item 15A, which was formerly 9N. Councilor Richardson.
Thank you. I move to approve original ordinance number 2067, an amendment to Laramie Municipal Code 13.28.010 to allow for vault toilets in areas such as publicly accessible trailheads, trails, and parks on third reading in accordance with findings of fact and conclusions of law, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the ordinance.
Second.
Motion by Richardson, second by Gabriel. Director Taney.
Mayor, Council, the item, this is third reading of the ordinance that would allow for vault toilets. The item has been to Planning Commission, has done through the second reading, and I think was pulled from the consent agenda. I don't really have anything to add to the conversation. Nothing has changed since the first reading. So I guess I would be open to any questions, and I know the applicant is here as well.
Thank you, Director Taney. I'm going to go ahead and go to Councilor Pierce, because I know she had something she wanted to say on this item.
Yeah, so council has been in approval of this. The vote each time it's been before us has been 8-1. And I voted no the first time and the second time. And we'll vote no again this evening. And I apologize for bringing it back, and Sarah, I apologize for you having to come out here tonight, but I really want to just make the point to my fellow council members that us, are approving a really fancy outhouse within city limits. And I just find it to be a little inappropriate. And I think, and I so love the work that's happening out at Pilot Hill. I think it's great. And I realize that raising funds for regular sewer system and water is extremely expensive and really not sexy, but the bottom line is I think it should be done, and I think it needs to be done, and it needs to be on a priority for your group and for the community as well, because I just think a fancy outhouse within the city limits is not a good idea. So. And I, like I said, I probably should have said it first time out and the second time out, and I guess I just got to say it today. So
No problem at all, Councilor
anyway,
Pierce.
so that's just my feeling.
Great. Council members, anyone else? Yeah, Councilor Doherty.
I support this because I think it's inappropriate to have running water to a fancy outhouse in the winter in Laramie, and we know how many problems you can have with faucets running, and so I really think that we would cause more problems by trying to get running water to a place and then heating it all winter, and the heating bill for a bathroom all winter really worries me when we're trying to become carbon neutral. So
Thank you, Councilor.
Can I?
Yeah, Councilor Pierce and then Councilor Cumbie.
I just made a road trip from here to Wisconsin in my car, back and forth, just got back over the weekend. And the outhouses and the rest areas all managed to figure out how to do it. Water is running, toilets are flushing, and they seem to have created some pretty amazing situations. Now, they probably had a septic, obviously, and that wouldn't be the case here. But if they can insulate in South Dakota, Wisconsin, Minnesota, it can be done.
Thank you, Councilor. Vice Mayor. Oh, I'm going to go to you, Councilor Newman. I'm going to do first times around. I should have kept us on the rails a little bit better. Didn't realize we'd have so many comments.
I support this because I think it's really practical at this point in time, and that the design is the state-of-the-art design currently, and that it has brought us forward from the standard kind of smelly outhouse that we may have had as kids. So I support it, B. That's all.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilor Newman?
So I'm going to continue to support it, but I wanted to, my thoughts on it as well, because I've kind of flipped back and forth through my head. Also stopping at rest areas on the way back home to Kansas, noticed that they had running water, but what Pilot Hill doesn't have is state money. And I know states pump a bunch of money into those rest areas. I also think it would be hard to go ask the citizens of Laramie for some money for sewer that they might not use. So I'll support this because I think it's the best option that we have.
Thank you, Councilor Newman. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, I will go to the public on this item. Any member of the public wishing to speak, unless the applicant, anything you'd like to add, Sarah? Sorry, before I go to the public, you're welcome to add anything you'd like.
Thank you, Mayor Harrington. Sarah Brown Matthews. I'm the Executive Director with Pilot Hill. Commissioners, I just want to comment that I am really grateful that you opened the conversation, Councilor Pierce. I have been curious all along as to what your concern was, and it's really helpful for us to hear the concerns and be able to take all of the different perspectives into consideration as we make community decisions that will impact our community. I will be honest with you, I was in Pinedale last night. I had to go to Jackson for a meeting and stayed in Pinedale. because it's a little less expensive. And they, in their city park, they have a really nice public restroom facility that is primarily for tourists. And I happened to, it was getting to be dusk, I happened to be walking in the park and met the person that was closing up the bathrooms. And we visited for about 15 minutes about what it takes to maintain it, how they manage to do it. They did expressed to me that it's been a huge benefit for them during the summer months when they have a lot of tourism traffic in town, but that they also had some issues come up with people wanting to camp there, and they closed them during the wintertime because of that issue. But I just want to acknowledge that, yes, I'm not sure that there's an ideal situation in our community for our trailheads and publicly accessible trails. I do appreciate the fact that staff was able to use this opportunity to extend the fact that rather than being just 200 feet from a sewer line, you need to be at least 300 feet from a sewer line to even be able to consider this option, that you need to be a publicly accessible trailhead or trail or park, putting those parameters around it, because like you, I don't want a lot of fancy outhouses in our community. But I appreciate the fact that there's some good guidance for it, and that we're able to grow with the community and with our needs for recreation with a little bit of flexibility. Thank you for your consideration for this code text change.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
Council members, any questions? Okay. Appreciate it. All right. You see like little flips?
I have a question. It's not for
Please.
Sarah.
Oh, go ahead.
I think our city parks close the bathrooms in winter.
They do. As someone with a
So-
toddler, I will tell you they do.
So it's a different deal. People are going to be going out for a long time, farther from home, farther from a restroom, and I really don't want people saying, oh, well, I'm camping, so I'm just going to dig a hole. I want people to have a toilet available, and we don't have the funds like the highway department. And I'll note that the rest area as you get on 287, as soon as you get into Colorado, that's closed all winter too. So it's a serious issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. All right. Council members, we're going to move to the vote. Oh, we haven't gotten to the public yet. I stopped myself. You were looking at me in a way that gave me some pause. Any members of the public wish to speak to this item? Go ahead and raise your hand on Zoom or come forward in the room. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment period. Council members, last chance. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Pierce.
No.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville, absent. Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 7 yeses, 1 no, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. We will move on to item, well, council members, you might want to take a break. Let's take a quick break. 5 minutes enough? You guys want more?
We're running out of time, we better just do 5.
5 minutes. See you here at 8:26, everyone.
And I can't give them any more. She is here. On the same street we go.
Oh, my goodness. That is.
I'm coming, Mayor.
Trick or treaters.
Yes, yeah, we leave a whole bowl out.
Oh, it's the first kid gets it all.
Oh, I'm coming. Go ahead.
That was almost comical. All right, folks, we're back. I'm going to go to Counselor Richardson for item 16.
All right. I move to approve original ordinance number 2070 on first reading, annexing approximately 63.718 acres of property located in unincorporated Albany County, southeast of Banner Road, adjacent to the northern municipal boundary, based on findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
Motion by Richardson, second by Newman. Mr. Gabatuller.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, members of council, tonight we have 3 annexations before you, this being the first one. This is a city initiative that we're doing to bring in pieces of property that the city owns that are adjacent to the city boundary. And this is just good planning practice and to ensure that if, you know, the land were ever to change hands, that it would be, anything done on that property would be done to city standards, which, as you all know, are much more stringent in a lot of ways than they are in the county. And being so close to the city itself, we found this to be a very important initiative to take. So with that, these 2 first properties are obviously adjoin each other. They're located southeast of Banner Road, kind of in that wetland area on the way up to the solid waste facility. Currently, it is zoned county industrial and rural residential. Staff is proposing that it's once it's annexed, we're proposing a zoning district for it, but we can get to that at the next item. That's how these items are lined up. First, the annexation of the property, and then the rezoning of it once it has been brought into the city. So again, this is a housekeeping item as we see it. It is important for a number of reasons outlined in the Planning Commission staff report. Interestingly enough, the public notice for a piece of property that the city owns that's adjacent to the city boundary does not require public notice per state statute. We still, in a matter of transparency, we did advertise, and we received no comments to date. Planning Commission approved this annexation on October 9th with a vote of 5 yeses, 0 noes, 2 absent. Honorable Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you for questions.
Thank you. Council members, any questions? Okay. We'll go to the public on this. If there's any member of the public wishing to speak to this item, please raise your hand on Zoom or come forward in the room. Seeing none, we will close the public comment period. Back to the council for comments. Okay, seeing none, City Clerk, you can call the roll, please.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Somerville, absent. Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 noes, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved on first reading. Vice Mayor Cumby, item 17.
Thank you. I move to approve original ordinance number 2071 on first reading, establishing the O District for an annex property approximately 63.718 acres in size, located at southeast of Banner Road, adjacent to, I think it's northern municipal boundary, in accordance with findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
Motion by Cumbie, second by O'Doherty. Mr. Gabatuller.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, members of council, these two properties were the ones that you just recommended annexation for upon first reading. As a matter of course, we were required, once annexing a piece of property, to zone it. So for these two pieces of property, given their location and what's recommended in both the Laramie Growth Area Plan and the future land use map of the Laramie Comprehensive Plan, we arrived on the O District as the best case for these two properties. The O District's intended for low-impact non-residential and civic uses on large lots. Lands designated as O may be done in conformity with the comprehensive plan. And essentially, what O District is, it gives us another layer of protection from any type of future development, and to really consider what that is, given the large parcel sizes. So again, I mean, the O District is designed to function as a holding zone for future planning and development of ag lands without preference for any specific urban use. This was advertised as well. We received no public comment, and Planning Commission recommended approval at their October 9th meeting unanimously with 2 absent.
Thank you, Mr. Gabatuller. Council members, any questions? Yeah, please, Councilor O'Doherty.
I just want to make sure my toads are going to be okay, because I recall that as being the area that working with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, that they have an easement to protect the Wyoming toads. Will this
City Manager.
protect our toads?
Mayor and Council, I don't think this would have an impact per se, but I will say that the safe harbor agreement for toads there, U.S. Fish and Wildlife did tell me just a few weeks ago that they wouldn't be releasing again there in the near future. So that doesn't mean they never will, but in the upcoming years, they don't anticipate another release in that area.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. Thank you, Councilor.
And I'll also add, if I could, Honorable Mayor, I mean, the zoning that's asked for here is the O District is far less intense than what is currently zoned as industrial and rural residential in the county. And as mentioned before, any future development being to city standards would definitely take a lot of those environmental concerns into consideration.
Thank you. Thanks. Anyone else, Council? All right, we'll go to the public on this. Any member of the public wishing to speak to the council on this item can raise their hand on Zoom or come forward if you are in the room. Seeing none, I will close public comment on that. Council members, any comments before the vote? City Clerk, you can call the roll, please.
Somerville, absent. O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Cumbie.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 noes, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has passed first reading. We'll move on to item 18. Councilor Shumway.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would move to approve original ordinance number 2072 on first reading, annexing approximately 0.977 acres of property located in unincorporated Albany County, located due east of the intersection of Mojave Drive and North 45th Street, based on findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
Motion by Shumway, second by Newman. Mr. Gabatuller, please.
Honorable Mayor, members of council, this very interesting piece of property is located just east of 45th Street. How it became to be the little slice of property that it is really anybody's guess, but we own it now, and So it isn't in the city, though. So as aforementioned reasons, we'd like to bring it into the city to, to protect it from any type of development that isn't to city standards, for one, and just as good governance for another. We did receive several phone calls about this one being at Pilot Hill and very visible to the community. No written comments once the public was informed on what was going on. So again, this motion is just for the annexation. I'll get into the zoning in the next item.
Thank you, Mr. Gabatuller. Council members, any questions? Okay, we'll go to the public on this. Any member of the public wishing to speak to this item can raise your hand on Zoom, come forward in the room. Seeing none, we will close public comment on this item. Council members, any comments before the vote? Okay, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Shumway.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Somerville, absent. Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 noes, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has passed first reading. We will move on to item 19. Councilor O'Doherty.
I move to approve original ordinance 2073 on first reading, establishing the R1 Single Family District and Casper Aquifer Protection Overlay Zone for annexed property approximately 0.977 acres in size, located along North 45th Street, adjacent to the eastern municipal boundary, in accordance with findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
Motion by O'Doherty, second by Richardson. Mr. Gabatuller.
Honorable Mayor, members of council, this piece of property is currently zoned in the county as agriculture, I believe. Let me make sure that is correct. Yes, it is. Yes, it is agricultural. I just wanted to make sure I was telling you correctly there. And we're asking for R1 because that is what the rest of the area up there is zoned, and we want any future development, as rare as that really would be, as it would be extremely difficult to develop that small piece of property. Anything there, we would want to be in line with those R1 standards. So we are recommending R1 single family for that small sliver there. Honorable Mayor.
Thank you. Council members, any questions? Okay. Yeah, Councilor Shumway, please.
I was wondering why I know you said R1 is very typical of this area, but would O be more appropriate?
Honorable Mayor, through you. The O district is more for larger tracts of land that are in areas that are more developable, I would say. I mean, this is an established residential area, so that's why we wanted to keep with that and recommend the R1 use. We don't anticipate anything other than residential at that specific parcel or in the general area given Pilot Hill and anything like that. So the least intensity that we could recommend is really what we were looking for here.
Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll go to the public. If there's any member of the public who wishes to speak to this item, just raise your hand on Zoom or come forward in the room. Seeing none, I'm going to close that public comment period. Back to the council for any comments. Councilor Pierce, please.
I think Councilor Shumway might be on an interesting path, and I kind of like it. Previously, when you mentioned the O zone as kind of a holding, as well as obviously for larger parcels. I'm just wondering if this doesn't really qualify as a holding, because the odds of us selling, right? I mean, I understand we don't want to have, what do you guys call it, like spot zoning, where you've got pieces right? I mean, I get that, why you're kind of going with the R1, but, I mean, I don't think I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that, but I just feel like it's not quite right at R1, because I don't think we're ever going to sell it. So.
I guess to follow up with that is maybe, I'm sorry, I did not
You're fine.
acknowledge you.
Go ahead. It's late.
It's late. Is, would there be an opportunity for someone to build on that? I mean, what would that look like? And maybe that's kind of to your point of like, why are we calling it R1 if you wouldn't develop?
Honorable Mayor, through you, I mean, nothing is undevelopable,
Sure.
right? I mean, developers could take, extreme measures and such to make something work through a variance process, whatever. I agree with what's been said before, and what we've been advising the public that's called in on this is that, yeah, the city, I mean, for the city to sell any land, especially something adjacent to an open space area like Pilot Hill, is really probably would never happen. I'm not against the idea of the O district, but we're more in line. We're trying to keep in line with the neighborhood and what's there. So I mean, it's not saying. So to your point, could it be developed? Absolutely. Would it be extremely expensive and unlike anything we've seen in that area? Yes, it would. Would that be bad? Who knows? I mean, it's only 20 feet. If the surveys, the survey that we've gotten back shows that this is barely over that berm,
right?
That is there, that runs along 45th, that kind of ridge area. So I mean, it's highly unlikely, but we have to zone it something. Okay. The O district, I feel like just the definition of it, in my eyes, just it's for larger tracts. It's for areas that we're wanting to have say in the development of it, as far as like what type. Here it's like we don't want anything there. Possibly residential, given, all the discussions we've had and the small sliver it is. It's not like a huge new subdivision. It's a small sliver that could be a place that could be developed in an interesting manner. I'm just saying, very interesting. But I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Mr. Cabot. To Councilor Newman.
I think this is one of those like half a dozen the other way, because we own it. So if we sell it and we don't want them to build on it, we can go in and change the zoning then. So I'm okay with how it's written now.
Thank you, Councilor. If anyone has any bright ideas, second reading will be coming up in 2 weeks. Give you some time to think about it, meet with planning staff, I think. Any other questions? Okay. We'll go to the public on this item. Any members of the public wishing to speak to this item can raise their hand if you're on Zoom. Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close that public comment period. Back to the council for comments. Seeing none, we will go to the vote. City Clerk.
Gabriel.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville absent. Pierce.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Cumbie.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 noes, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item is passed first reading. We'll go on to item 20. Councilor Pierce. Did I miss one?
No, I did 19.
These are, yeah. I was going to say, these are tough to keep straight right now. Item 20, Councilor Pierce.
And I am behind. Here we go. I move to approve original ordinance number 2074 on first reading, annexing approximately .501 acres of property located in unincorporated Albany County, located due east of the intersection of East Sterling Drive and Cottonwood Drive, based on findings of fact and conclusion of law.
Second.
Motion by Pierce, second by O'Doherty. Mr. Gabatuller.
Honorable Mayor, members of council, this piece of property is currently being utilized by our Public Works Department as a pump station. It is located there on Cottonwood Drive in a largely residential area. Currently, it's zoned agricultural in the county. We are recommending city RR, which is the lowest density residential that we currently have in our residential zoning districts. This annexation did receive some phone calls and inquiries, especially from neighbors there. No written comments were provided once it was relayed what was happening. Again, this did not require us to notify the public, but we did anyways, just in a matter of course and transparency and the fact that we were doing it for the rezonings anyways. So with that, I will turn it back over to you for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Gabatuller. Council members, any questions? Okay, seeing none, we will go to the public. Any member of the public wishing to speak to this item can raise their hand on Zoom. Seeing none, we will close public comment. Back to the council. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville, absent. Gabriel.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 noes, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item is passed first reading. We'll move to the Vice Mayor for item 21.
I move to approve original ordinance number 2074 on first reading, annexing approximately 0.501 acres of property located in, oh, I'm on the wrong one. So sorry.
You're fine.
I can see why you're getting confused.
It's tough to keep straight at this point.
I move to approve original ordinance number 2075 on first reading, establishing the RR Rural Residential District for an annexed property approximately 0.501 acres in size, located along Cottonwood Drive, adjacent to the municipal boundary, in accordance with findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
Motion by Cumby, second by Newman. Mr. Gabatuller.
Honorable Mayor, members of council, as mentioned previously, this annexation or this new piece of property is in a residential area, almost entirely surrounded by RR, which is our, as I mentioned, lowest density residential. In keeping with that, that's what we're recommending for this piece of property.
Thank you, Mr. Gabatuller. Council members, any questions? Seeing none, we will go to the public on this. If there's any members of the public who wish to speak to this, please go ahead. Raise your hand on Zoom. Okay, seeing none, we will close the public comment period. Back to the council. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Newman.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Somerville, absent. Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 noes, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. And thank you, Mr. Gabatuller. That was a marathon. All right, we'll move on to item 22, public comments. Any member of the public wish to speak to the council? Now's your chance. If you were one of the 2 staff members on Zoom or staff members in the room. Okay, closing that public comment period. Council members, any future work session topics this evening? Okay. We will move to Councilor Pierce for item 24.
Can we go back to the?
Sure we can.
Thank you. I do think we need to have a discussion at least related to what we were talking about earlier in terms of potential ordinance change. I think, Bob, you might want to add a little bit to that. You said you'd rather have us, council, make some decisions on that in terms of revocation and revoking license and stuff. I mean, it's no rush, I don't think, but.
If I may, Counselor, you overheard half-baked conversation I was having here on the edge of the room, and I'd like a little bit more time to think about that.
Okay.
But I'm happy to, if we want a work session on how things get appealed and who makes the decisions, that's fine.
It's really, yeah.
Could we
I
have
would,
staff
I would
bring
like that as well.
Can we just have the staff bring this work session when city attorney feels ready? Like he's had a chance to think it through? I think it's a wise idea for us to consider this. Feel okay for you, Bob? Like you take time to think about it and then schedule it?
Potential.
Sure, and I'll say this, and I'm thinking out loud. I mean, there's a lot of places in code where we provide an appeal to someone if something goes wrong in their estimation. So take a little bit to sort through what's smart in each of those situations.
Okay. So I think, yeah, let's put it on the work session list and then we'll be understanding that it might take you a minute. Sound okay?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
All right, Councilor Pierce, item 24, we've made it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I move that we adjourn to executive session regarding personnel, Wyoming Statute 16-4-405, lowercase a, Roman numeral 10.
Second.
Motion by Pierce, second by Richardson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Council members, we're adjourned to executive session. We're going to meet here. Just give it a minute to clear out.